watching? Are you watching this? Are you watching? Yeah. Are you watching this? You need to get with it. Are you watching this? We on a TV shit. Are you watching this? You don't wanna miss. Are you watching this? Stop canceling our shit.
Gonna jump right into it.
Okay.
The finale. Welcome to the Are You Watching This podcast? I'm Ellen.
And I'm Chelsea.
And today we are reviewing season 4, episode 10, the season finale of Hacks. The, what's it called? Episode title was called Heaven. And how about I didn't know that until right now. That's kind of sick. And the episode was directed by Lucia and was written by Lucia, Paul, and Jen, just like the episode before.
Mm-hmm.
I did not have a synopsis. Do you?
It just says Deborah deals with a difficult contract negotiation.
Okay. But yeah, that's a little summary.
I am going to warn you, I guess maybe because it was the last episode of the season, I do have like little questions related to the scenes. So yeah. I don't want to interrupt you too much, but I might more than usual. So
okay, no problem. Please interrupt.
Okay.
Opening scene, we see that Deb is at this like local neighborhood mall.
I said sleazy lawyer, but yes.
Yeah, meeting with a sleazy lawyer or a damages whatever lawyer. And he's reading her contract, and basically she's trying to find a loophole in her contract so she can perform. She reveals that she's literally had everyone take a look at it, Judge Judy included.
And she says something about I don't even really like her that much or something.
Yeah. Yeah, apparently they got beef. Which, you know what? I can see. I think that tracks. Very strong personalities on both ends.
Sure, yes. Yeah.
Ava, then next scene we see Ava is at, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. One thing is that this is when he asks, he's like, I'm surprised you signed this contract. And he said, because I read in the United Airlines flight magazine that she's a contract shark. Yeah. And I was just going to say, do you read those magazines?
No.
Do you remember the Sky Mall magazine?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. When I was younger, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But I think now we got so much technology in our hands and on our palms that, yeah, I don't even watch anything on the thing. It's like, if it's not on my iPad, yeah.
Oh, I use a plane as an opportunity to watch a movie that I would never watch otherwise.
The movies I do sometimes.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
But you're not watching like TV shows usually?
Absolutely not. And I only will put on a movie if I know it's going to be, first I do go on, I search if it's a movie I haven't seen, and then I will only see on the plane. That's what I'll do. Yeah.
Yep. And then the other question is if you were in Deborah's shoes, would you have left your dream job?
Great question. I think the way she explains it though makes sense to me. And like she says, dreams change, or like the feeling of what you thought your dream was, you get it. You know, you're older than when you dreamt it. Maybe it's ickier than you thought, stuff like that. So I believe in that. I believe in like fighting for something and getting it. If it doesn't feel right, it's not bad to just let it go. So that's my answer in a really roundabout way. What about you?
Well, I mean, yeah, I said kind of more or less, would you do the same thing as Deborah? So, and I think so too. Yeah, especially because, like you're saying, Deborah's doing it for integrity, and she wanted to make sure, even though it was her dream job, like that she was still true to herself. And I think that's what's important.
I agree. I think a lot of people dream up something, get it, and feel like because they spent so much time working hard for it, even if it doesn't feel like right, they still have to hold on to it. I think that's unfortunate.
Yeah. And I think too, probably with Deborah, again, if I was in Deborah's shoes, she has Ava, who's like been by her side since the beginning. And so she doesn't want to abandon her.
Yeah.
Which if I was in a dream job and I didn't have like a partner, somebody who I was tied to,
Yeah.
it would be a lot easier to leave, but it's also harder if they're still there, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like if something ever came up with this, I would have to definitely consider your feelings as well, even if I was ethically like, ugh, whatever. Yeah.
Okay, that was all.
Okay.
I was just curious.
No, great questions. Next scene, we have Ava. She's at Jimmy's office pacing. She's trying to figure out how to get Bob to give them their job back. She offers to suck Bob's dick. Jimmy basically says, "You give no one wants a subpar blowjob." Does this track with you? Does Ava seem like someone who, really would not be in it?
How do I want to say
Is that a weird
this?
question? Now that I said it out loud, it is a weird question, but we're here.
Well, here's what I'm gonna say. For Ava, since she's bi, I think that's definitely gonna be less one of her favorite activities. There are some there are people who they do genuinely enjoy doing that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and then so I'm thinking like, I think that's rare. I don't think there's a lot of people that they're just like, I love doing this.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's some patriarchal rewiring that we had got put into our heads, and a lot of people like to claim it. But yeah, I agree.
It tracks, so it does track for me.
Then Ava is at Deb's house, and
can I say okay? At the end, Jimmy's talking about Ava to get like another job, or is like, what are you looking for other things? And he talks about Greta Gerwig doing Catcher in the Rye.
Yeah,
and Ava said that she thought Holden being a girl was the take. She's like, so that's the take. And Jimmy says the ginger flip is the twist, but what is the take?
Yeah,
and that whole thing, I was like, that is what people would say.
Yes. I thought so too. I was like, this could actually be a thing. Yeah.
Yeah. It felt so realistic.
Yeah. Next thing we have Ava. She's at Deb's house and they're talking about the future, what they can do. And we see Deb on the other side of the table of the desk, and Deb's just like staring at an empty calendar, basically. And she looks very sad and a bit defeated, but it's all right. Ava suggests a new hour special, and Deb says, like, how the hell is she going to workshop that? If she can't get on stage, she's not just going to workshop it in front of a mirror. She needs to workshop it in front of people and get the audience's feedback. So then after that conversation, Deb says that she thinks she needs to go back to Vegas. And Ava's like, oh, okay, cool. But then Deb's like, nah, I want to go alone, which sucks. But I feel like Deb needed that. It's all right.
Yeah, and I think Ava understood. I think she was a little sad, probably because you have to think, if you've left a job that you've been working towards and working so hard, you probably don't want to just be left alone by yourself.
Yes.
You don't have the job to go to. Like you're still kind of lost. So I think she was just sad. Like, oh, it'd be nice to have somebody around to really understand like what we're going through. So
yeah, that's true. Then in the next scene, we see Deb, I believe she's at her daughter's house.
I think so.
With her grandson, AJ, and she's giving him a fake interview on the couch. And it's very, very cute. I liked this little bit that they added in. And I'm glad AJ got some screen time in the final episode.
The thing too, though, is like at the end, it was like so cute. And then at the end, she just looked so bored. She's just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, she's definitely not a, what's it called, like hands-on grandma situation.
Yeah.
Then the next scene, we see Deb is visiting Marcus at his new job. I don't know if they mentioned this before, but we do find out what Marcus now does. And he is in the solar power industry. And he gives Deborah a tour of the facility. And in the middle of the tour, Deborah bursts out that she wants Deborah Vance's industry back. And that was actually the real reason for her visit. And he says that that's not possible. The name is not her name anymore. Maybe she can go in as like I don't even remember what he says. I did not write it
like
down.
A partner, or as a spokesperson.
Yeah, but getting control of it is not on the cards. And then Deb is very sad. She's like, damn, I don't even know my name anymore. And yeah, it just sucks.
In this scene too, Marcus is trying to, I guess he kind of thought maybe she was actually interested in what he was doing slightly.
Yeah.
And so she's like, okay, well, I'll just leave. And he's like, don't you want to see the tubes? They're a lot smaller than they look. Like he would be impressed by that. And he would think other people would find it interesting.
Yes, I agree.
And Deborah's like, no. What did she say too? She's like, you never even talked about solar power before. You don't even like the sun that much.
Yeah. I'm also glad they brought back Marcus.
Yes.
Like a couple of times this season.
Yeah, because they could have easily kind of just let him fade away. But I loved his character, and I'm liking his growth too.
Yes, I agree. And his character definitely shows the more human side of Deborah too, which I don't think a lot of people bring that out of her. So he's necessary. Then we get a montage after this of Deb just feeling sorry for herself. She's rotting in bed. She's going into like tourist convenience stores. She's chugging soda and pop, whichever one you call it.
With whiskey in it.
With whiskey. Yes. That part too. She's just letting herself go. She's just flailing.
Yeah.
After this montage, it ends with Deb is in bed with one shoe on, one shoe off. And Josefina comes in and immediately points it out, which I'm so grateful they did, because as the audience, also we're like, what the hell? And Deborah says that she was taking a break between putting the other one on.
So good. Have you ever done that before?
Yes.
It's usually after, like, you know, the days where you like had a really big day and you got to come home, you got to shower, you got to get ready, and like you're hot from the shower, you've just been going, you put on that one shoe and you're just like, oh my God, and you just lay down for 5 seconds.
Yes, you described it perfectly. We've all had that moment. I agree.
I'm glad I'm not alone.
No, and I'm glad. Yeah, we're clearly not alone. The Hacks writers put that in there.
Do you think that you would have a hard time retiring?
No.
People are always like, "Are you bored yet? Like what are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm just doing whatever I want."
Yeah, I'm doing my. I do have a question about the whole job of it all after the episode.
Okay,
it's like one of my big questions. So Josefina comes in and says Marty's on the phone and it's an emergency. So then Deb answers the phone, goes to see Marty, and the emergency was a false pretense thing just to lure her in. I guess he's heard or has seen that she's been down, so he suggests that she goes away to Hawaii and stays at one of the hotels he owns, or at the hotel he partly owns. And Deborah says no, she's a work. Well, she does say no, but she first is like, no, she does say no. She first rejects it. She's a workaholic. Relaxing is not a thing for her. She brings up a moment during their honeymoon where she was like, she did a little bit, I guess. But she gives in and they're off to Hawaii. And the next scene, Ava shows up at Deb's house in an insane outfit. I couldn't put it into words. I just wrote insane outfit.
It is, well, I mean, Josefina describes it perfectly. She looks Ace Ventura.
She did, and I couldn't come up with anything better than what she said, so I just said insane outfit.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
It is. And she's ready for their Hawaii trip. So, what did I write here? They're on the plane, ready to take off. Ava is drugging herself to not experience plane.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of funny lines in her little rant as to why she is taking the drugs and how excited she is to be in Hawaii and relax and all of it. And as she's ranting and doing her little monologue, Deb is just...
She's like, oh my God, what did I do?
Yes. You can see the wheels turning in there. Like, yes.
I have a question about the scene, but also there's that really small scene where Marcus and his mom and her friend, they're watching the hotel explode, get blown up because I guess they're going to build another one. And that has to be an activity people do in Las Vegas, right?
I guess, yeah.
Like the way that they did it, lawn chairs, and you like go and watch it.
Yeah, because I was like, why did they add the scene?
So I think this is also what I was going to mention, because I didn't pick up on this the first time I watched it, but second time I did. What they're doing, they're blowing up the hotel, and Marcus, and I think it's his boyfriend, or the group, they're talking about how there's no more boutique hotels and there's no more character, and you can kind of see a look on Marcus's face. So I think the next season he's going to open up a hotel.
Okay.
And probably pull in Deborah for it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I like that. So it's like setting up.
I think so. That's why I was like, I could see Marcus's gears turning in this conversation.
Yeah.
My other question is have you ever been on a PJ, private jet?
I have not. I don't know if you could consider it a PJ. Is it just like yourself, you and the P?
Like it's one that you or somebody else owns, and it's like you don't have rows of seats, and it's just kind of like more of a free-for-all situation.
Yeah, no, I have not. Have you?
No, but Drake has. I know, and I'm like, if Drake has been on one, then I have to be on one at some point.
Yes. Where was it going? Can you reveal?
Well, so that part was a little less exciting. It was Des Moines, Iowa.
Okay.
The local soccer team here, CFC, Chattanooga Football Club, the owner, he's one of the part owners. He's a younger guy, and his family, with a bunch of other people, because they run a very large company, have a private jet. And so what they do is they'll fly it up for away games.
Okay.
And so they'll then invite, a handful of, some
people.
of their. And so we got to go one day. And I was like, I'm not jealous of the Des Moines part.
No.
But still want to go on a private jet.
Yeah. Did you say a football game?
Soccer, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. My brother played there for a bit.
Oh, really?
It was the same team.
If you were rich enough, would you have a private jet?
No. Would you?
The thing is if I fly on a private jet, I don't know if I would be able to not fly on a private jet.
I get it. Okay. Counterpoint. Have you ever flown business class or first class?
Yes.
Okay. For me, that's enough.
Well, I don't want to see any of these people.
So
either I'm going
Okay, fair.
Because
okay, go ahead.
The other part too is when I book tickets, I will upgrade sometimes, especially if I get like a deal.
Yeah.
And if I think we've kind of talked about this flight long enough, but I'm like, you know what? I'll just buy a medium level seat, maybe not basic economy, maybe comfort plus, but I just have a hard time in like buying first class tickets more. So all that saying, I'd rather just have a private jet. That makes more sense spending that money versus upgrading tickets.
The math that you're mathing, I do not math that way, but I get it. But yeah, no, I would fight for just booking the first class. And plus, I feel like if anything were to go wrong, you would have less. You could blame a higher person. Like you could, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want that
responsibility.
Terrible for the environment.
Yes, that part
it's
too.
Like it's so selfish. You're like, I won't get on a plane with another person.
Yes.
So I'm gonna waste all this fuel.
Yes, that's like actually my number one reason why I would not. Yeah. I'm like, if there are a couple of planes going that direction anyway, and I can't. And I will say, like international first class, business class is more. You still do see people, but you're in a pod. First class, you literally can shut your whatever space. You can pretend there's no one there. You really can.
Yeah, what was I gonna say? I was gonna say something else about that. In all reality, though, I do want to go on a private jet. I'm not above it. I would ride on one multiple times. But if I really did have that much money, that's not how I'd want to use it. I would just get nicer plane tickets.
Yeah, I would like charter planes here and there.
Well,
absolutely.
And now they have that service too, like at LAX. Maybe at New York where they'll just drive you right up to the plane. It's not a private jet, but you book your ticket, they'll pick you up from your house, have a meal ready for you, and drive you on the tarmac.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a couple of $1,000, but throw that in there and it's pretty much like a private jet.
True. Very true. So yeah, I would book those kind of services.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wonder if like, have you heard, we're going on a tangent, but it's fine. Have you heard how expensive it is to not just like buy a yacht? Why can't I say the word yacht? Okay. But also maintain one. Have you heard like that's like insanely expensive? Do you think planes are up there like that too?
Probably not as much because yachts, they're constantly in water, and so and they're in salt water typically. Salt water's uber corrosive, and so you have to just like, you can't let it sit there because it will like pretty quick deteriorate. A plane, I think, it definitely has more parts, and I think it's mechanically probably a little bit more maintenance, but I think upkeep in general is probably a lot lower.
Right. And like the crew and stuff is like cheaper. Yeah.
But I will, when Drake went on the private jet, that was one time I got kind of nervous about him flying because I was like, if a plane goes down.
This is what I'm saying.
It's usually one of those.
Yes. The smaller the plane,
Although not anymore. This was a couple of years ago, so.
Yeah, now it's a free for all. You can get it. You can get all the planes.
Yep.
We're laughing way too much about plane crash.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I wasn't laughing at the plane crash. I was laughing at the joke about it.
True. Was that all your questions?
Yes.
Okay. So then they take off to Hawaii. They land, and it is pretty clear immediately that they're not in Hawaii.
I've never been to the Singapore airport, but I know that's what the Singapore airport looks like.
I've never been either, but I definitely know what it looks like. Singapore is top 3 of my to travel to list on my travel to list right now.
Especially after watching this show.
Right. Oh, you know what show it was? I mean, not even show, movie. Oh, shoot. It was the movie, the romantic...
Crazy Rich Asians?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's what sold it for me. I said, oh, I've got to go. Mm-hmm. So they're at Singapore. It takes Ava a minute to realize they're not in Hawaii because she is in her own world, and when she finally realizes they're not in Hawaii, Deb tells her that she got a residency at the casino there that they're staying at, and she found a loophole basically in her contract. And the loophole is that basically they can't sue her if her jokes are being translated into another language. Which, okay. Is a very weird loophole.
I feel like we could have come up with a better solution, but I think Deborah was like, you know what? I'm good. Whatever. Like I'll get to perform and I get to go to Singapore because it seems like that's not her first time there. So
yeah. And she really missed the smell of air conditioning too. She loves the whole casino vibe. Basically, yeah, and they can't sue her if the jokes are being translated. Ava is skeptical at first, but she's like, you know what? I've been wanting to write new material, so let's get to work. Then we get another montage of their time there, Ava doing her first stand-up there show, whatever they call it. Then we see that the residency gets more shows added. And then we see that the residency is extended. And in the middle of this, we see Ava and Deb doing different activities. At first, it's like happy and cool and, they're having a great time. But then it gets messy. Deb is kind of losing it. Ava's looking very over it. Deb falls asleep at one show. And the translator makes a jet lag joke about it. I'd like to think that the translator then goes off to do her own.
Well, Ava did say she I don't remember the translator name, but Ava's like, they did a whole 20-minute set while you were asleep.
Yeah. And then they are having drinks or something, and Ava reveals, so montage over, Ava reveals that she is not happy anymore and doesn't think Deb is either. She feels that Deb has given up. Deb gets defensive and very, very mean, as Deb does or can do. And basically is like to Ava, like, you, like, I've lived my life. I've done it all. Why are you still here? You're in your 20s. You're 29. You're stuck. How old is Deborah, first of all?
Ooh, I don't know.
Yeah, they've never really revealed, which very on brand.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be nice and say in her 70s.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Yeah, so she's basically just like, how am I your only friend? And yeah, and I'm a 70-year-old or something-year-old, and basically it's weird. And Ava's like, whatever, I'm heading home. Then
there's while Deborah's being mean and roasting Ava, you're 29, I'm your only friend, that line like hurt me. Because you get the look on Deborah's or Ava's face was like she was just realizing all of this stuff. I just knew it, that had to hit hard for Ava as a character.
Yes, yeah. It was definitely one of those, you know someone well, so you hit the points where, yeah.
And then, but one line that she used to describe Ava really got me. She says, "You're just following me around with your empty notebook and big shorts." And, that is what she's been doing.
Yeah. God, Deborah is so mean. She's great at roasting. She really is. Gosh. Next day, Ava's waking up, and we see her get a bunch of texts, and Jimmy calls in the midst of her looking at her phone, looking at all these texts she's received. Jimmy calls and asks what happened to Deborah, because apparently TMZ has reported her dead. Did you believe she was dead?
Not really. I mean, for a second, again, I was like, I could see them doing that, I guess, if I thought it was the final season.
Yeah. God, that's such a dark ending.
I know. So I didn't think that was the case.
Yeah.
But I stopped to think about it for a second.
Okay. Yeah, me too. So after Ava hears this, obviously from their fight last night, it's even more of like a big deal if Deborah is dead, because that's not how you want to leave it. So she runs through the casino from her room all the way to Dev's room in this very romantic, like guy running to the airport to stop the girl kind of vibes. And she gets to Deborah's room, knocks on the door. She's panicking because Deborah does take a minute to answer the door. But Deborah does answer the door. She's alive. Ava tells her that TMZ declared her dead. Deb is not phased one bit. She's like, oh, like what? They've done this to other people before, apparently. And then Deborah reads her own obituary from TMZ. And then Deborah goes, they use the R word.
And Ava gets like really concerned. She's like, oh no.
Yeah. The delivery of both of them was so great. And the R word is retired. Not the one we were all thinking. And the one people need to stop bringing back, let us just say.
Yeah.
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 It's unnecessary. We were fine without it. Yeah. I don't think I was missing it from my vocabulary to describe anything.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. And there are other words you can use.
Be more clever.
Yes.
Just because you're dumb and don't know more words.
That's making it our problem. Truly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hate it. So yes, TMZ in their obituary claims that Deborah went to Singapore to retired and went off to Singapore to live out her dying days there. This fired Deborah up, and she gets mad. She's like, this will not be my legacy. I'm no quitter. And we got to get back to business, Ava. And that's how they end it.
Yeah. Which I thought was a good ending.
Yeah, I did too. I did too.
I'm glad to which again, the series of events, but they could have written it kind of differently. I like that episode 9 was a little bit more stressful. It was a little bit, and then, but what I don't like, and ER is very guilty of this, the second to last episode is like the big climax episode, but then the last episode is like the most bland, boring episode ever. Yeah. And I'm like, why would I want to watch the next season?
Yeah.
But they did such a good job of like, I want to see what happens, but I feel very content with where the characters are at.
The ending, yes, I agree with that. It's like they resolve it. They give drama in that second to last episode and resolve it in that episode. Yes. Like they don't leave it hanging for that last episode. Yes. Like a lot of shows typically do.
Which is terrible also.
Yes, I agree. I agree. But it is one way to get people to tune into your finale.
Sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
But yes, that is often, the plan.
Yeah. Shrinking does that too. I was watching this and I had the same note as you, and I was like, Shrinking really does. Like they end it on a good or, good note, basically. Yeah. That's it. That was season 4. All of it. We did it. They did it.
It was such a good season. Not that I thought it would be otherwise, but it's continued to be very consistent. And I would say, the seasons get a little bit better, but I think it's just the characters we get to know them more.
Yeah. Yeah. The writing is excellent. Everything that comes out of whoever's mouth is very true to that character. And even more so this episode. And there's also still character growth within everyone and their shit, whatever, like each character, whatever they got going on.
I will say Deborah's the one that kind of ebbs and flows a lot more, but you have to think too, as a character, she's older, so she's definitely more stuck in her ways, and she's definitely grown a lot since the very beginning, but each season she's like, has some growth from the last season, and then backslides a little bit, and then
true.
Back and forth. But
I believe she was slapping people before.
That's why we watch a TV show. That's what it's supposed to do.
Yeah, exactly. To see that growth, to make you also believe that you can be better. But also, if you do fall back, it's okay. Let me see. I had a question for you. Okay. You asked about something about the dream job?
Would you leave your dream? Yeah. Like your dream job? Yeah.
Yeah. Would you leave your dream job? I had a question, and this is very, very deep. And this was last episode, like episode 9, actually. But during Deb's monologue, she goes on about, like she might be a capitalist pig, but she's a comedian first.
Yeah.
And I loved that writing, by the way. And I wrote it down, and I wanted to ask you, like, did you ever have a moment where you were thinking, I wrote like, what do you actually do shit for? Like, I think a lot of people are like, life makes you believe you got to do shit to make money, to make a living and live and shit like that. And that's what capitalism makes you believe. But if you take away the system, if you take away the capitalism, it's like, what actually ignites you? Is it to make people laugh? Is it to, I don't know, be kinder? There's so many things. Do you know what that is for you?
No.
Okay.
And and part of the hacks, especially this season, of reason that I love it so much is because I did not quit my dream job by any means. That's why I left, because it wasn't my dream job, but it was something that I worked really, really hard to build, but I just knew it was the right time to leave. And I knew that if I had the resources and the means to do it, I was doing myself a disservice, not allowing myself to figure out what that was, instead of continuing to do the same thing, because I felt like that's what I needed to do. That's what I was expected to do. That's what you do in America, is you have a job, you work 9 to 5, you go home. And it felt very unnatural to then leave that to kind of try and pave my own way in whatever form that is. So I'm trying to figure it out. I definitely know that it wasn't what I was doing before. I was good at it. I was really good at it.
Yeah.
I was good at it, but I didn't come naturally. I had to work really hard to get good at it.
Yeah.
It wasn't something that I just woke up, or like as a kid was like, I want to do this. I just found I was able to do it, and I was good at it and kept doing it. But now I want to do something that I actually like enjoy, and I want to tell people about.
Yeah. I get that.
So, what about you?
I do the shit so I can have the shit to help people or like to make someone's life easier kind of situation. Yeah. And with my job, it's like, I don't have to use, it does come easily to me. So I don't have to use that much brain power. When I do, it really does suck though, but I'm very comfortable in it. And I think it's on its good day, it's a perfect balance, or in its good week, it's a perfect balance of like working, but also I can still like do other things I'm passionate about. It gives me a lot of time to put my
so I guess I didn't answer that part of the question. And I very much agree where you work to provide the lifestyle you want, not work for your life.
Yeah.
However that phrasing goes.
Yeah.
And really too, I felt more comfortable leaving my job because I also did have a general goal in mind, like a financial goal.
Yeah.
And I got there, so I was working towards that. The job was for that. And so once I got there, I was like, well, this job definitely is not serving me anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
you like ran out of excuses.
Yes. Yeah, it really, really did. So that's where we are.
Nice. I just thought of that question. I thought it would be a nice way for people to get to know you more.
And I think it's a really good question because it was one that I really didn't start asking myself until probably, I knew that I didn't want work to be my life, but I did enjoy what I was building. I liked being a part of it. So I was really happy about that and I was proud of that. But I didn't even really stop to think like, is this what I want to do for the rest of my life? Until about 5 years ago. And what helped me over 5 years finally be able to like come to the conclusion that it did is hearing other people talk about it, hear people making that decision and that change and how it affected them. And so I think it's really good to talk about that, to let other people know sometimes you do have to just be in a job for a little bit. It's not the right time to leave. And it is very much a privilege to be able to do that.
Yes.
But if you have that ability, you really should give yourself that chance.
Yes, I agree. I think you're like, both my best friends have switched careers 2-3 times, and I think it's the most impressive shit ever. Like, I think that's just, you're not happy, it's not working out for you, cool, pivot. Yeah. And I think that's so cool.
Again, as long you gotta be able to provide for yourself and your family, and
make sure you can sustain yourself.
Basic responsibilities are taken care of.
Yes, definitely.
But it is also hard too, because sometimes you have to like believe in yourself a little bit. You have to invest in yourself a little bit of money, a little bit of time, and so that part's hard too, because there's definitely a balance in it.
Yeah, absolutely. But I call that like I've had a couple of friends in like jobs that truly don't deserve them, or it's just shit or whatever. But I feel like not all, but I think most of us in your early 20s to mid 20s, you kind of do have to put in that shift. Yeah. You really do. Yeah. And that's what I call it. Just like putting in a shift, and then you'll figure it out later on.
Yeah, for sure. Well, what a great season.
Yeah, I will miss Kayla the most.
Because I love her so much, I've been watching like YouTube clips and interviews with her, and she was on, Katya has a YouTube series with Grindr called Am I the Asshole? Yeah. And they talk about kind of like, I think, dating stories and stuff, and she was on there, and it was very fun to watch the two of them talking.
Is the actor as funny as Kayla, or you can see how? Yes.
I will say she comes off in interviews less confident, because Kayla, like delivers lines like with no doubt about what she's saying.
Yes.
Megan, is it Stalter?
Stalter. I think that's the one. Yeah.
It's like Staltar or ER.
Yeah.
She kind of, would be like, I don't know, was that funny? Or like those kinds of things.
Yeah. Okay. That's cute. That's necessary. I feel like Kayla only truly works on TV.
Yeah. If I met a person like that, I would be like, you maybe need to go see a therapist or a psychiatrist, because you're not quite here.
No, you were absolutely ridiculous.
But you also have to think with Kayla's character, and actually I kind of do know some people that are like this, you have to think she grew up with like a lot of privilege. So in her world, that kind of is true.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
She doesn't really have to think about repercussions. She's not really worried about that money. Like, you know.
Yeah, you're right. The context surrounding who she is as a person explains why she is that person. Yeah, that's true. With those people, I think small doses is how I'd be able to handle this.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, guys, that's it. I hope you enjoyed our, what did we end up calling this?
Let's hack it up.
Let's hack it up reviews. Classic. Are we gonna, if we do a review again, can we reuse?
Yeah, for sure. Cool. And I think we'll do some logistics talk after this as well, because we'll have our next recap of a new show. So
then we'll let you guys know on a Friday episode what that is. Okay. All right. Well, see you later, or talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.